Okay, I'm not alone. This is great. I am not alone. This is great. Mine is a good cry, though, not a bad cry. So back in February, I decided after 4 years to leave the Canadian Football League and to join ING Direct. And I'm going to flip to our next slide here so that you guys can just remember how we are today with the hashtags and stuff. So I decided to leave the Canadian Football League and join ING Direct. As you guys know now, social media news can travel really quickly, and it traveled very fast. I spent 4 years as part of an amazing community at the Canadian Football League. Lots of fans and friends across the country. And I didn't really know what to expect. It was a hard decision to leave the Canadian Football League, but a great decision to join a company like ING Direct, as you'll see throughout this morning. So I walked out of the office after a few people started tweeting that I was leaving, and I just went and sat in the park and started watching my Twitter feed, and the @replies started pouring in. And it was February, it was cold. It was not the wind and the snow that made me cry, but the sentiment and the outpouring of love from the fans across the Canadian Football League. And it wasn't until that moment I realized that I'd actually built a community. I never entered social media at the Canadian Football League to build a community. That wasn't my goal. I was just another football fan who happened to have a computer inside the league office, who happened to have access to players, who happened to have access to the cool things that the Canadian Football League was doing, and I just shared that with people. Someone had an issue, I gave them my cell phone number. They'd call me if I came to Calgary. I'd go for breakfast with some of our fans. Wherever I went, you know, I did my best to serve people, and as you'll see this morning in some of the examples, I don't think anything I'm going to show you this morning is going to be revolutionary. I think social media is very simple. I've got 5 points I'm going to go through this morning on how I think is the best way to build a community. Are they the only 5 ways? Probably not. There's probably a lot of great ways out there, but these are the 5 that have worked for me. I have simple examples, and I have examples that aren't going to blow your budget, because oftentimes you'll go to a talk and people will give you the $500,000 solution, which doesn't apply to not-for-profits, doesn't apply to community groups, and doesn't apply to most small businesses either. So I'm hoping what I show you today, you'll be able to take some of it away and you'll be able to use it either in your personal life or for the business that you're representing here today. So I like to remind people social media is a commitment. It's not a campaign. It's ongoing. You can't just turn it on and off. You can't just tweet for a few hours or Facebook for a few hours and disappear. So just remember that this is ongoing. Once you start, it's pretty hard to stop. So I'm going to go through 5 case studies today. The first 2 are going to be Canadian Football League related. The last 3 are going to be ING Direct related. And then I'm going to show you for the first time ever, actually, we haven't shown anyone in public, what the future is going to be for ING Direct and community building. And it's going to take a little bit of sports and blend it with a little bit of banking and see how we're able to put something cool together. So the first principle we're going to go through today is K.I.S.S. I know everyone has their usual definition of K.I.S.S. My definition in this case is keep it significant and shareable. It's one of the most important things to remember when doing social media and especially building a community. Ask yourself, do I care before you post something? You know, and why should I care? Why do I care? Why would this matter to anybody before you put it out there? So what we did at the Canadian Football League is we created the CFL.ca online water cooler. We were sitting around one day at the office and we thought, well, there's all these great conversations during football games. People are tweeting, we're getting hundreds and hundreds of tweets, and we have 4 games a week, and there's no real way to save these or to promote these or do anything with it. And we thought, well, you know, people used to congregate in the water cooler. They used to have, you know, chats in their office, but Twitter's become the new water cooler. So what we started doing is whoever's job it was that night to run the game, they would take the best tweets, funny tweets, tweets about significant things that happened, if there was a major injury, if a quarterback threw 5 touchdown passes, whatever was the big thing. As you can see on the slide there, or hopefully you can see on the slide here, we've got the hot topic of the week, and then we just had other things that were driven by the community. And what we did is this would go up every Thursday at noon. Now this is important because it was consistent. It went up every Thursday at noon, and the one week where we didn't get it up Thursday at noon was the week we realized that people actually liked it, because we got slammed on Twitter and Facebook and everybody said, well, where's my water cooler? I've been waiting to see the water cooler. And then we realized we started to build this community of people that live for the water cooler. It became a badge of honor for people to say, I made the CFL water cooler. And week after week, we'd put the best tweets. People started tweeting at us, come on, put me in the water cooler. Like, like I made a funny joke, like put it in, and there's this one guy out there who goes by the handle Spitzka, who to this day still thinks I banned him from the water cooler. It's not true. Now he thinks I banned him from banking at ING, but that's not true either. But it became this thing that just grew for us, and when we had our Grey Cup tweet up, which I'll show you in the next example, people started talking to each other, and they were bragging about how they made it 7 weeks, and I made it 8 weeks, and I made it 6 weeks, and it gave people a chance to see who the other influencers were amongst the CFL community and amongst our fans, and get to know people. We had their Twitter handles in there. We also pulled from Facebook, and we pulled from polls, and for me, it was significant. It gave people a chance to be on the front page of the website of the league they love so much, and it also gave us a chance to sort of aggregate good content in one place. So that's the CFL.ca water cooler. The second one I'm going to show you is the Grey Cup tweet up. We threw 3 Grey Cup tweet ups. The first ever Grey Cup tweet up was here in Calgary in 2009 at the Unicorn Pub downtown. We had about 25 people show up. Then it grew the next year in Edmonton to say about 70 people, and then up to 120, 130 in Vancouver at last year's Grey Cup. I will not take credit for coming up with the idea of the Grey Cup tweet up. In fact, it was fan-driven. About a month before the Grey Cup here in Calgary, a bunch of fans started asking us if we were going to have a tweet up. This was 2009, Twitter relatively new, and we thought, hey, that'd be a good idea, but we're pretty busy. You know, our team was thin, but let's see what we can do. So we called around, and as you know, in Calgary here, people like to party, so it's pretty hard to find a room in a bar a month out of Grey Cup. And we managed to get space in the Unicorn. I managed to get the commissioner to come out for an hour. We got a couple of players, Nick Lewis from the Calgary Stampeders, Tad Cornegay, who was with the Riders at the time, and the 25 fans came out. We had a plate of food and some beer, and it was just sort of a very casual get-together. There wasn't much to it, but people were really excited. They got some autographs from some players. You know, how often do you get to drink beer in the bottom of the Unicorn with the commissioner of a professional sports league? So that worked out really well. And what I'm going to show you is the evolution of where we ended up in Vancouver. And the point of this, and here's the second point I'm going to make today, is focus on people over technology. This is one of the most important things I'm going to share today, in my opinion, because there's this obsession to bring in technology to solve your problems, and how are you publishing, and what services are you using to publish, and let's build crazy apps, and let's do all these crazy things. At the end of the day, social media is about people. It's about connecting with people. It's about relationships. And I'm going to steal from, in my opinion, one of the greatest people in the world, and that's Isidore Sharp, the founder of Four Seasons Hotels, and he talks about the golden rule. And if you only take one thing away from here today, please take away the golden rule, because this is very important. If you treat people well, the way you would like to be treated, they will do the same. So I had no guidebook when I started doing social media for the Canadian Football League. This was my guidebook. My dad taught me to treat people well when I grew up. I looked at people like Izzy Sharp from Four Seasons, and I just treated people well, and that was what guided us, and I think that's what led to our success. So here's a look at the Grey Cup tweet up. This is a combination of photos from both Vancouver and from Edmonton. You can see fans getting a chance to go up close personal with the Grey Cup. They had an hour at this event. This was opened up to people that were some of the most hardcore engagers throughout the year. We gave preference to the people that came the year before. They got first crack at coming back the next year, and then we kept expanding our numbers. There's Arlen Bruce in the middle, if you're familiar with the Canadian Football League. That's the commissioner in the upper right and the bottom left. If you're hardcore Stamp fans, you may recognize the two women with the Grey Cup on the bottom. Connie on the left with the dark hair was actually on the Calgary Stampeders ticket last year, and she's also featured in some of their marketing campaigns. So it brought influencers out to an event. And one of the things we did there, imagine you show up at an event and you don't have tickets to the game, and they say, okay, everyone that doesn't have tickets, come stand up on stage. And you're going, okay, sure. And then we have a rock, paper, scissors tournament for 2 tickets in one of the best sections of the stadium. So we did this in Edmonton in our second Grey Cup tweet up, and we did this in Vancouver last year. When we first did it, we had no idea what was going to happen. It's rock, paper, scissors. Like who knows? There's no real skill. Someone may argue me on that. But So the first time we did it, it was best of 5 in the final. We paired people down, best of 5 in the final. A young woman from Calgary won the first 2 over an older gentleman from Edmonton. And we thought, oh, it's going to be a wash. It's 2-0. And then he comes back, 2-1. And then he comes back with a massive paper throw, and it's 2-2. So it's like, all right, what's going to happen? We've never done this before. And everybody's ready. They're all set to throw down. Boom, they both throw rock. So it's still tied. And we're going, wow, this is actually really exciting. And all of a sudden you look around and everybody's like on top of you. And then she throws down paper, he throws down rock, and she slams down on the rock on him, and she wins 2 tickets to the Grey Cup. And, you know, it was fun. And then this year, the gentleman on the left there, Kevin, he won the final. And he beat the woman to his right, Colleen is her name. And everybody started chanting, take her, take her, take her, take her. So he took her to the game. He split the tickets and he took her to the game, and they went to the game. And Kevin works in social media for a professional sports team, and Colleen is a hardcore Riders fan, which I'm sure people here won't get into that. She'd come up from Ottawa. She was visiting her friend. Was just hanging out, going to the parties, because that's what Grey Cup's about. And then they end up going to the game, and now they're friends. They tweet back and forth to each other. They had a great time at the game together, and this became sort of like this amazing story. People were like, how cool is that? Guy wins, you know, $500 worth of Grey Cup tickets, and then he just brings a random stranger that he never met. And I'm going to show you the next part of this, which I thought was really cool. So how about winning VIP sideline passes to the halftime show, playing heads or tails? These are easy things to do. I'm not telling you guys anything crazy. And if you look at the woman on the left there, she's pretty excited. So let me take you through it. That was the moment she realized she won. There was like that pause of, did I just win? And then, oh my God, I'm going to go down and watch the halftime act on the field 2 feet away from the stage at the Grey Cup. And what happened here was that we were trying to figure out how we have these 4 passes from Pepsi for VIP. How are we going to give them away? Someone said, we'll do the heads or tails game. And I said, what's the heads or tails game? It's pretty simple. Everyone's going, well, probably involves flipping a coin, right? So literally, you tell the room, touch your head if you're heads, and you stand on that side, and you say, touch your tail if you're tails, and you stand on that side. MC flips a coin. It's heads, okay. Everyone tails, you're out. Everybody come back in, and you just whittle it down. And we were down to 5 people. So if it went heads, the 2 won. If it went tails, there'd be 3 left. And so we'd have to keep going. So these 2 won, and they got to go down on the field and watch the Pepsi Max halftime show featuring Nickelback. No reaction? Okay, I just wanted to just testing the room, see where we stand on Nickelback. So what was the takeaway? This is one of the other things. So I throw up this data as you look at it. Always, always, always do a post-event survey, because your mind will be blown like mine was when I read this. Because I just showed you all this cool stuff, commissioner, players, Grey Cup, right? I'm going, my favorite part of the tweet up was, well, everyone's going to say commissioner or Grey Cup, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. This was the data from the Vancouver tweet up, the last one we ran, but it was almost identical to the one before that from Edmonton as well. 47% said meeting other fans was their favorite part of the tweet up. That's when I started realizing, hold on, we've got a community here. This is about community. The other stuff is nice. The other stuff's nice. It's great to have that other stuff, and you should. But this was amazing that it was about the other fans. And this is some of the things that people said to us in the open comments in our survey. I enjoyed putting faces to the many people with I've been tweeting at all season. People talked about it as if it was a family reunion. We have a tighter-knit community than any other professional major sport. And having this event every year just converts more casual fans into hardcore fans. You start talking about ROI. What is the ROI? We are converting people over, and I'll show you what it translated to in Vancouver. I felt like royalty. It was the best part of Grey Cup for me. A few people said this was better than the game for them, because they got to reach out and love the league that they love, and they got loved back by that league. So this is the insight. This is what we boiled it down to. The CFL brings the conversation into its house and makes sure that the league is at the center of that conversation by creating a community where fans can interact. You want to be at the center of where your clients, your community, your fans are talking. You want to be at the center of where that conversation is. See a few people taking pictures of the screen. I'll hold on a second. Good. So what happened? I got a call. I was back home with my family in Vancouver for the Christmas holidays. I got a call one morning from the guys at Hootsuite, who, for those unfamiliar, they produce a social media publishing dashboard and analytics. And they said to me, "You're never going to believe this, but Grey Cup was the top trend in Canada on Twitter last year." And I was shocked because I thought, well, you know, there's Justin Bieber's always trending, and there were a lot of big events that went on. There were some uprisings around the world, etc. And they had run the analytics on this in late November, just before the Grey Cup. It was done down, I believe, in New Jersey. And they reran them. They decided to rerun them one more time in late December. And the woman in New Jersey said, "There's this weird thing. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of tournament about a cup or something that all of a sudden is showing up on our data list." And I guess the Grey Cup didn't make it down to New Jersey. But as proud Canadians, we know what the Grey Cup is. And so she sent the data up. And the guys at Hootsuite, because they're in Vancouver and this was in Vancouver, were like, "Whoa, hold on." And then they called me and said, "You won't believe the data we just got." And there's a few reasons for this. So we had a ton of players from both teams on Twitter during Grey Cup. We had two organizations, the Blue Bombers and the BC Lions, that were extremely committed to social media. We had the league that was behind it, but it extended, thanks to things like the Tweet Up, to the broader community. And Vancouver, a very digitally savvy city, a city that has like free Wi-Fi in a lot of places and venues, it all came together to create a perfect storm because people touched people that weren't necessarily going to go to an event, that came to an event, that tweeted about it. We had our hashtag plastered everywhere, and it took a lot of cooperation from the teams, from players, from fans to use this hashtag. And this is a little off topic on this point, but when you think up an event, people often save the hashtag for the end. That should be the first thing you think about is the hashtag, and you should plaster it everywhere and promote it everywhere as much as you can. We had hashtag 99GC, 99th Grey Cup, everywhere. They were on t-shirts handed out at the Tweet Up. They were on our website for a month in advance. They were on every newsletter we sent out. They were on Facebook. They were on Twitter, and it was consistent Grey Cup after Grey Cup. So people started using hashtag 100GC to talk about this year's 100th Grey Cup before we even got there because people started realizing the pattern. So same thing. You know, here we've got our hashtag SMBYYC. It's consistent. People know. So think about your hashtag. It's very, very important. So here's where we transition over to banking, and we're going to use someone familiar to most Calgarians, Henry Burris, your former quarterback. And he was actually involved with the launch of the Thrive checking account for ING Bank. We're going to take a look at that Thrive checking case study here. And this is the third point now, if you're writing them down, the third point. Building a community takes both online and offline. A lot of people focus all their attention on online, and those of you that are here today that were at our event last night at ING, I think you walked away rewarded by the fact that you put the face to the names of some of the people. You met Jonathan from our cafe, who I'm sure some of you have seen on Twitter, and now you finally met Jonathan. So this is the importance. So I'm going to show you the online component first. We crowdsourced ideas for our Thrive checking account. It's been around for just over a year now. We opened this up to 10,000 clients and said, it's in beta. We want you to take a look at the checking account we've got, and we want you to take it for a test run, and we want you to tell us everything about it that you like, don't like, want to see, don't want to see, want changed. And we threw our product out there. That takes a lot of guts. It's not easy to have people give you feedback on something and say, you know, this sucks, I can't do this, or, you know, it doesn't do that. But at the end of the day, though, it also gives you great insights on what your clients want, and it's helped shape a no-fee daily checking account that actually pays you interest, that offers you overdraft protection. We call it whoops protection, and it provides a whole lot of features that were crowdsourced through the community. The community helped design this great checking account. So that's the online component, reaching out to people, and they gave us feedback through Twitter, through Facebook. We have Get Satisfaction, which is our online community. Any way possible, they gave us their feedback. what's next, and we don't have the audio for it, but I'm going to run a 1-minute video to show you the offline component of it. And just to set it up, we had 4 ambassadors. Henry Burris was one in Calgary. We had Trevor Linden, former Vancouver Canuck in Vancouver. We had Amber Mack, who's a digital specialist in Toronto. And then we also had a woman named Tammy out in Montreal who's a comedian, and she was in Montreal. They each had to spend money, and whoever spent their money the fastest got extra money donated to their cause. Henry Burris was the winner, that's why you saw him there. I'm going to see if I can not put this microphone near the speakers and let you watch the video.
I'm Henry Burris, and today I'm feeling thrive-tastic.
I've got 7 hours to spend $7,000.
Courtesy of ING's no-fee daily checking account.
Je sens que ça sera pas facile.
You keep up? Could you keep up? Could you keep up?
The kids are going to be so happy.
$700 of everybody's lunch is on me.
I'm a tight. All right.
That's amazing right there.
Excuse me, everybody. I'm here to hand out some money today. You have an account with ING? Okay. Can I put some money in there? Hey, for you, wear what you're wearing. You're gonna get to.
That's how we launched our Thrive checking account. It was trending across Canada, millions of mentions, etc. So that was the offline component. So there's obviously the online of using people, but we also took it offline to activate. And those of you who were at our event last night in Calgary, you saw that our hashtag was trending in Calgary. And you need to bring people together to sort of close the loop, to have that face-to-face. And for me, that's very important. That's one of the things that I find is most important in social media, is having that face-to-face interaction. So regardless of what you do, regardless of what your business is, you can bring your clients in, you can bring your customers in. Take the 5 people that tweet at you the most, or Facebook with you the most, or who are most passionate about your business, bring them in. We were at WestJet yesterday, great Calgary company, very good on social media. Same thing. They just signed a new deal with Bombardier for new planes. And they've got some people on their Facebook page that love planes. They love the technical aspect of the planes. They told me they posted a photo of a plane landing and asked people what degree the wing flaps were at. I don't know anything about planes, but apparently people were arguing, and then someone said, no, the wind's this. And they started judging what the wind was based on a photo. And someone said, well, how do you know what the wind is based on the photo? And the guy said, well, you can see the wheat blowing down below, so it's on this angle. And you know, those are the people you want to bring in to your office, to go for a coffee with. Those are the people that love your brand. Find those people, embrace those people, meet those people, take care of those people, because they'll take care of you when you need them most. Forward banking launch. So if you noticed, those of you familiar with ING Direct probably remember Frederick, the Dutch guy, call, save your money. So Frederick was with us for about 13 and a half of our first 15 years. We were, as it was mentioned earlier, we were primarily a savings account, a place where, as Kevin mentioned, you send your check off and we link you up with your bank account and you put your savings with us. That's not us anymore. We are now a full-service bank. We have mutual funds. We have TFSAs. We have our Thrive checking account. We are now full-suite banking. So we launched forward banking in April to let people know we are no longer save your money. We're still trying to help people save, obviously, with no fees, as you can see. But we are now forward banking. So we were really excited. We'd put a year and a half worth of effort into coming up with new creative, and I'm sure there's people in the room that have been through a brand relaunch and worked with your agency, and you get really, really, really invested in what you're going to do, and you're so excited to finally share this brand with the world. We'd built this content plan for 2 weeks. We had it down to the hour, what was going to go out on what social platform. Everyone was ready to roll. Everyone had their marching orders. And the point is how you handle the bad situations will be what matters most. And you're going to see how we handled what we thought would be a good situation, but it turned out challenging for us. So we built this buzz. We made this crazy new commercial. If you haven't seen it, download the ING Direct Forward Banking commercial. You'll see things blow up in slow motion with great music. It's really cool. We hyped this up, but we always made sure to tell people it was simply going to be a brand change. We didn't talk about products. We said brand. But people hear what they want to hear. Clients hear what they want to hear. What's in it for them? So we built this buzz. We were so excited. And wow, this is what we got. We were using the hashtag Stop Banking in the past. Blue Quake says, I actually liked banking in the past, you know, when ING offered actual high interest rates on savings. We dropped our savings rate about a month before the brand relaunch. Anyone else feeling suspicious about what's coming from ING Direct? Vague ads, careful language, not passing the sniff test. One of my favorite ones, is this the big reveal? I was hoping for an ING credit card. And we knew that. People have been asking us for a credit card for a long time. They said, get a credit card, we'll move all our banking over to you. Nice, but it doesn't make me feel better since I just noticed that my savings rate had been cut to 1.35%. So we were jazzed, we were all jacked up, and then all of a sudden, the whole morning, everybody's going, oh, we had all this goodwill and now people don't like us. So after about 24 hours, what did we do? We said, hey folks, we've been doing a lot of talking over the past 48 hours about forward banking. We understand that you would like to see new products and new services from ING Direct. So we are opening this thread up to collect feedback and hear specific products or services you would like us to consider. Thank you for your help. We provided people an outlet because we realized quickly, and we took that 2-week social media plan and we threw it out. After all that work, all those months that went into it, threw out the door that content plan. We said, tell us, what do you want from us? We got over 100 comments that we ended up bucketing into about 5 different columns of what people want from us. Credit card being number 1. Some great ideas. And we fired that off to our product team and we got amazing feedback. And then after that, the mood changed. We then teased our next commercial. We put some more stuff out and people started to realize what was happening. But the key for us on this was that when you redo your brand or something like that, it's all about you. But people look at it from their point. The clients go, well, what's in it for me? Really, there was nothing in it for them, and this was targeted at trying to acquire new clients and let new people know what our brand was about. And our Facebook page is our current clients, our current advocates, and there was really nothing in it for them at the time. There will be as we continue to evolve forward banking, and some of it's going to be shaped by this one Facebook post here today. So the point is how you handle the negative situations are what matter. We take a look at, Chrysler, they had their issue. I'll let you Google it. I don't want to get into too many of these. Labatt had their issue recently. How you handle it is what matters, and that's how people are going to remember you. You can be the best company on social media 364 days a year, but people are going to remember you for how you handle that crisis. So make sure you're nimble enough to handle that crisis. Don't get stuck to that 2-week social media plan that you have and go, oh, well, this is what we planned. We're going to just keep pushing stuff out. You have to be ready to read and react, and you have to be able to do it quickly, and don't panic. If there's any senior executives in the room, do not panic. Do not pressure your social media team. Listen to them. Do not be scared of the negative. Do not be scared of the feedback. This will be the best time to find out what people really think about your brand and how you can fix it. Embrace it, because this is the value of social media right here, is in the negative situations. The next one I want to talk about is the social CEO. Unfortunately, our CEO couldn't be here today. Those of you that were at our cafe last night, I hope you got to engage with Peter. And the point of this one is your primary focus should be on building loyalty and retention. I know everybody wants to sell through social media. I know you want sales. I know you're being asked for your ROI. But if you try and sell at people in a venue they don't want to be sold at, you're going to turn them off. People don't like people coming to their house. You don't like being stopped on the sidewalk at lunch by the people that are trying to grab you. The future and the war that's going to be won is going to be through loyalty and retention, hanging on to those clients that you have and having them advocate on your behalf and selling on your behalf. And in our case at ING Direct, our biggest advocate is our CEO. If you're not following him on Twitter, I'd advise it, CEO_ING Direct. He directly responds to people. He runs his own Twitter feed. He's one of the reasons why I'm working at ING Direct right now, because I started following him. He would talk a lot about leadership. He would talk a lot about the values of the company, what it's doing in the community, how it puts its employees first. And this is what happens when you have someone at the senior level being open, transparent, talking to clients, helping resolve issues for clients. He's become our biggest advocate. And he's now on Facebook as well. And I know you can't see this in the back, but these are two different threads where people had issues with the bank and they continued to press and they didn't like what our social media team was telling them. So I contacted Peter and I said, Peter, I need you to jump in on this. And Peter said, no problem. He jumped in. And on this one here, he got a response that says, hey, Peter, thanks for the personal response. Glad to see you on Facebook addressing concerns directly. Gord Nixon, who's the CEO of RBC, if you don't know, hardly ever gets back to me over at RBC, and I work there. That's on our Facebook page. Like, you can't buy this. The second one here, fair point. Brian says, I have yet to see another company's CEO post on Facebook when called out, especially a bank CEO. Only makes me more sure about my choice to go with ING. I'm lucky. I inherited a CEO that was already into social media. For most people, it's going to be a challenge for you to get your CEO or your senior leadership on social media. So show them this. Show them what Peter is doing. Because it works. It makes a difference. It builds loyalty. It builds retention. He doesn't shy away from problems. He deals with problems and he listens. The most important thing that Peter does is he listens, and he genuinely does have care and concern to resolve things for clients. And this is just some of the examples of what Peter does. So what's the future? What's next for ING Direct? I've only been with the bank since February, and I'm trying to bring my knowledge from the Canadian Football League and sports and the passion that you see in football and soccer and try and bring it together with banking to build those ambassadors, to build that next community. So this is the first time we've showed anybody this, and I'm going to debut it here today, and this is the future, in my opinion, or at least the start of building ambassadors. And this is a Tumblr feed. We're going to be launching a Tumblr, superstarsaver.tumblr.com. And we're going to be coming out with orange scarves. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the orange scarf, because there's a few things I think that are important. One, there is no branding on one side of the scarf. That's very important because you want people to wear your branded merchandise elsewhere. If you cover it in branding on both sides, people are not going to be interested in it. There is branding on the other side. We have produced 365 of these scarves for 2012. The only way you can get one is by engaging with us through social channels. People can nominate you, we'll hand it out to you, and we'll send it to you with a signed letter from all of the social media team at ING Direct. And that will be your badge of honor to wear around and say, hey, you know, I am a proud ambassador. It will go to people that have meaningful engagements, write good blogs, come to our defense on social media. This is how you'll get it. When the year ends, that's it for that year. We will come up with a new design and a new pattern for next year. How does the Tumblr feed come into play? What we're going to do with the Tumblr is we're going to have people send us pictures with their scarves, whatever they're doing with them. They take them on vacation, and we're just going to have a roll of photos of people on there. That idea comes from Hootsuite. If you check out their Life of Owly Tumblr, Life of Owly, OWLY.tumblr.com, they do something very similar with people wearing Hootsuite merchandise around the world. And this is what we're going to do. And then Melissa and Jonathan both work in our cafes. So when someone comes into our cafe wearing a scarf, we can offer them stuff like free coffee, or we can offer them other special perks. We can start throwing orange scarf events. This is the start to identifying who our biggest brand advocates are. And this is not just for clients. This is also open to our employees. We have over 1,000 employees, and we are trying to drive towards being a social business and getting our employees involved as well in promoting our business. No more being scared of what someone's going to say. We're going to train and educate the people that work for us to understand our brand, to speak on behalf of the brand, and we're fortunate that we already have probably 50 to 100 people that are on Twitter, and we want to empower them to continue to speak on behalf of the company. And this will be one of the ways that they can also participate by taking home an orange scarf. So to recap what we've gone through here this morning, the 5 key takeaways: keep it significant and shareable. We saw the CFL.ca water cooler example. Focus on people over technology, the Grey Cup tweet up. Community needs to have both an online and an offline component, as we saw in the Thrive example. How you handle the bad situations will be what matters most. And your primary focus should be on building loyalty and retention. So that wraps up the presentation. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you for listening. My email is there if you do have any questions, if you have any feedback, if you disagree with anything, let me know. If you have trouble with your banking, also let me know. We'll take care of you. You can also find me on Twitter as well. And as we mentioned, Jonathan's here too. If you do want to do anything at our Calgary Cafe, it is open to groups, free of charge to use our space downtown. So hook up with Jonathan. He's wearing the bright orange watch, and he'll be able to take care of you as well.
Any questions?
Okay, great, thanks.
Let's see the socks. Yeah.
Not sure how orange socks goes with my red shoelaces, but we'll make it work.
I got a question.
Yes.
So, what about, so you work for the CFL, who had tens of thousands of fans. ING Direct has 1,000 employees plus 2 million customers, right? So what about an organization that maybe is local to Calgary that has under 10 employees and a handful of customers?
So the question is for smaller organizations, if you only have a few employees and a few customers, to me, every employee in this day and age is an ambassador for the brand and for the company. You have to take it to heart. You know, don't wear this t-shirt because someone told me to wear this t-shirt. I wear this t-shirt because I believe in the brand that I represent. And you need to find those employees that believe in what you're selling, and believe in your company. And that often starts from the top. You always hear tone from the top. So if you are a senior leader in this room, make sure that you are passing that down to the people who work for you, and you have to lead by example like our CEO does. Everybody's an ambassador. Everybody can go out there and engage. That's the great thing nowadays, is that the days of information is power is over. Information is now in the hands of the community. And the more you can get your employees, and the more as a company you can be out there engaging. You know, Melissa and Jonathan are out in the community. They're engaging on behalf of themselves, but they're also representing their brand. And that applies to anybody. That can be massive corporations down to tiny corporations. Be an ambassador for your brand. Take away some of the things we showed here today. And again, remember the golden rule. Just treat people right, and you'll be okay. People will want to do business with people that treat them right. And I'm not telling you anything new here. This has gone on forever. Anyone here in sales knows that good deals come together when both parties win, and both parties are happy, and everybody feels like they got a fair deal. It's the same thing. Just treat people right no matter how big your business is.
Anybody else? Oh, I know there's a question in somebody's head.
Yes.
I almost didn't ask because it's kind of in line with that, but I work for a very small business. We're actually a vendor at this farmer's market around the city. We do sustainable fish and seafood. We're really bad at Twitter. We don't really use it well. So what would be some of your advice for getting started in terms of utilizing social media?
So the question is working in sustainable fish and seafood, and you're bad at Twitter, how do you get started? We're all laughing, but we all got started at some point, right? We all had to grow from somewhere. So a few of the techniques I learned was I just started going to conferences like this, and I started watching what people were doing that were successful. Then I would start to follow them, maybe engage with them, keep an eye on what's going on out there. But also monitor conversations that are happening about your industry or things that are happening, and then start to jump in a little bit. And you know, if you see people talking about something, offer them some help, explain to them, you know, maybe someone's looking for a recipe on seafood, and you can say, I got this great way to cook, you know, BC salmon on a cedar plank, and here's what you should do, and here's a link, and be helpful. It's one of those things. It's the same thing as networking. You know, people, they go into a networking, you know, to meet someone networking, and they go in trying to get something out of it, rarely succeed. Where if you go into that conversation and try to give something to somebody, long term you will be better off. So go in trying to give is what I would do on Twitter. And just be helpful and share with people. And I think people will start to then be drawn to you, and they'll say, you know, this company's so helpful. Look at what they're doing. You know, they're making a difference with sustainability. They're making a difference in the community. They're helping, and that's what I would do. I hope that helps.
One more? Going once? Boom.
So I'm interested to know that you're on Facebook for things, but you're not mentioning it in the DLL. So from your perspective, is there a difference between the social atmosphere of Facebook and the business aspect of LinkedIn?
So the question is about why I didn't mention anything on LinkedIn, and is there a difference? I think every single social platform is different. And if you try to have the same voice or same strategy for every single one, I don't think you're going to succeed. I think I had a conversation with someone in this room yesterday about how our Twitter audience and our Facebook audience are totally different people. You may have that 5 or 10% that blend on both, but it's different groups. For us, we use LinkedIn for recruiting. We use it for posting jobs, especially at the bank. And I think the successful companies of the future are going to be the ones that win the war on talent, that find the great people, the ones that you can trust to be the ones speaking on behalf of your company. So LinkedIn's going to be at the center of that. But again, online, offline, you can post all your resumes on LinkedIn or all your job postings on LinkedIn. But if you don't have recruiters coming to an event like this, or I was at a Facebook hackathon on Saturday in Toronto where they had all these young developers from Toronto doing coding for Facebook, and I met a bunch of like 19 and 20-year-olds that were 10 times smarter than I'll ever be, telling me things I didn't understand. If you don't go to those events and shake their hand and meet them, you're not going to win the recruiting war. So LinkedIn's the start. But I was talking to 4 young engineers from the University of Toronto, and they said, oh, who are you with? And I said, ING Direct. And they said, I know your CEO, he spoke at something, he's on Twitter. And I said, yeah, that's right. And they said, you guys are the cool bank. I love how your CEO's on Twitter. And I said, that's pretty neat. You know, these young coders know who we are. And for us, it's like they could end up working for us, and we're winning the war on talent through that. But so LinkedIn's half of it, and you have to use that for recruiting. But get out there, meet people, and that's how you're going to win the war, to find those best employees. Is that it? Time up?
I don't know.
Any other questions? I'm happy to answer questions.
How much of your success with the CFL social media aspect could be transferred to another organization like the NFL, like the NHL? It's a uniquely Canadian, small markets community that enables that success?
So the question is how much of the success from the CFL building community can be translated to another league? So the funny thing is when we started doing what we were doing on social media with the CFL, the NFL was fining its players for being on Twitter. They were chastising everyone for being on Twitter, saying you can't tweet before and after games. We just opened it up to the world. And it's funny how now NBA had their social media awards the other night. All these leagues that hated social media are all of a sudden taking credit for being the best social media leagues in the world. And I'm not saying the CFL was the first or the best, but it's interesting how community wherever you are, and I think you can find those people, you can create that community. The NFL's a little more corporate, obviously, so it's a little different. If you've been to Grey Cup, you know what it's like. But I look at a lot of the NFL teams, I look at a lot of the NHL teams, they're building communities. The Vancouver Canucks have built this amazing community in Vancouver with some of the social media things that they're doing. Washington Redskins had a Foursquare thing when people did Foursquare, a lot more than they do now, where you checked into partner bars and you could win rewards. So they were driving all of their fans to their partner bars to watch the games together instead of being in their living room. So I think it doesn't matter what you're in, there will always be a community for what you're offering if what you're offering is good. Yes?
Just wondering, like, especially in the case of banks and corporations, I mean, yeah, when you open up the forum, I can understand it's great being criticism. So, but you always end up at least at 1% is going to be the winglet groups are going to be like a sort of vendetta. What do you do deal with people?
So the question is with a bank, you can be open and transparent, but you're going to get that 1% that has an agenda or is out to get you. We get that a lot. We have this community cruiser that Melissa and her team uses to drive around to events. It's a Toyota FJ. So it uses a lot of gas, and we preach sustainability. With our rebranding, we put this Toyota up the other day on our Facebook and said, check out our new community cruiser. We got hammered. People were like, oh, it's a gas guzzler, you guys are killing the environment. Oh, that's where my savings interest rate went, to pay for this car. We're like, no, we've had this car for a long time. And then we started to get hammered, and then, you know, I'm fortunate that I have a very good team under me, and they realized that we forgot to tell people that it's part of AutoShare. We forgot to tell people that we've had it for a while. We forgot to tell people that it's used to haul big equipment like speakers and stuff, so we can go do community events. We would be riding bicycles if we could, except for the fact that you do need to move some stuff. So it's making sure that people understand the full facts and understand the full story. And sometimes that's a mistake on our part, that we just don't tell the whole story right. So, you know, make sure you're telling your full story and try and deal with people. Once in a while, and I won't mention his name, but if you do go on our Facebook page, you'll see one guy with a pattern of history, and I've had Peter talk to him several times, and at some point, it's okay to ignore people if they're causing chaos on your page.